ගන්නවා, කැඩිච්ච පුටු ගන්නවා, පරණ වොෂින් මැෂින් ගන්නවා, බෝතල්, පාත්‍රේ.
අසූතුන කලි ජූලිය විසින් තීරණාත්මක ලෙස
You know, when you talk about running an organization or running a business of your own, one of the main things that we do talk about is leadership.
Today, we have with us the visionary behind Orion City, Mr. Jeevan Gnanam. Jeevan is an entrepreneurial idea generator like his grandfather, the late Mr. A.Y.S.Gnanam. He is the CEO of St. Anthony's Industries Group, Vice Chairman of Slascom, Founding Director of Lankan Angel Network, Director of Loops Digital Marketing, Director of SKAS, and the Director CEO of Orion City, the first premier operational IT park in Sri Lanka.
Mr. Jeevan, it's an honor to have you with us. Thanks for sparing your valuable time to share your leadership thoughts with us.
Thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here as well.
Mr. Jeevan, how would you express yourself in a nutshell?
I think I try to find the right answers, and the platform on which I do that, or ask the right questions, the platform on which I do that is through business.
Could you tell us a bit about your family and your family business?
Okay, the family business is called the St. Anthony's Group. It's started by my grandfather, Mr. A.Y.S.Gnanam. It's about $350 million in turnover, and we employ about 6,000 people here. The family is pretty close. Thanks to my grandfather, he's set certain rules, if not really rules, but just things to keep the family close. For example, we have family lunch every Sunday, where everyone, the entire family gets together and has lunch. So there is the business side, but there's also just the family side as well.
Okay, thinking on that, how did you first get involved in the family business?
Well, when I came back from the States, I always knew I wanted to come back and do something in Sri Lanka. With my brother, we had started something about 8 years ago called Kadai.com, which was Sri Lanka's first kind of eBay. We tried to copy the eBay model here, and that's honestly why I came back and started in Sri Lanka.
A vision and core values are critical for an organization. What is your organization's vision and core values?
We redefined our vision recently, and that's honestly to create impact in the lives of Sri Lankans. Anything that we want to do is to create impact in lives of Sri Lanka.
How do you communicate the vision throughout your organization?
I have to say, we just recently reformulated the vision, so we have not clearly communicated, but I think it's kind of through our management, and we have management get-togethers, so the management really communicates that vision to the rest of the organization. So that is how we've communicated so far. I believe we need to do a better job of communication through the organization. We'll be doing that in the future.
Sort of a personal question. Who is your role model? Who has inspired you as a leader?
Well, my role model is my grandfather, Mr. A.Y.S.Gnanam, who pretty much started the group from nothing, came from very humble beginnings, and I think he didn't have much way of education, and he came from India to Sri Lanka, didn't have much money, pretty much started selling like scrap plastics on the road, scrap iron on the road. Slowly was able to build that into into a shop, and then when the 1960s came, and said, why don't we start manufacturing our own things in Sri Lanka, and started much of what the group is today, which is Anton, Tokyo Cement, Rhino, etc.
A peculiar question. How have you developed an innovative solution to a non-traditional problem?
An innovative solution. I think an innovative solution, to my mind, takes time, right? So if you were to read Darwin's book of evolution, for example, most people believe that there was an aha moment and then it led to the theory of evolution. But if you actually read his book, that theory was forming for a really long time. And I think businesses are very similar, or innovative solutions are very similar. I think they take some time to evolve and form, and there's no such aha moment. I think it's continuous practice of innovation, or as I mentioned earlier, asking the right questions, trying to find the perfect model, the business model, changing your business model according to market, how markets move. That's when you create an innovative solution. I mean, for example, Orion City is an ongoing solution, innovative solution. It's a platform in which we want IT companies to work on, but we don't want to rest on our laurels. We want to keep innovating and keep moving forward. It's the same thing with the other businesses that I run as well.
We have learned that you have studied 5 years in USA. Do you think that has affected your thought process?
Yeah, I think the US was a good experience. It really opens your mind up to possibilities, and I think the culture there is more risk-taking than say Sri Lanka. But I think I think that's what the US helped me with. I started actually my first business plan competition in the US, and I think that was good training for what I wanted to do later on, which was more to do with kind of creating businesses and stuff like that. So,
what are the most important decisions you made as a leader of your organization?
The most important decision. That's a good one. I think so the way I see businesses is it's about it has 4 things, right? One is priorities and values. The other is business processes. The other is resources. And the other is kind of the business model that kind of puts it all together for your end customer. Where I think as leaders you have the most impact is probably the first one, which is priority and values, which is pretty much the culture of the company. And I think if you can get people on board onto your vision, change their mindsets about where you plan to be, I think that's probably where you can create the most impact.
How do you encourage creative thinking? How do you generate great ideas in your organization?
Actually, this is a good question, because I actually asked my grandfather the same question before he passed away. And what he said is, he was kind of expecting the next generation of his sons, and obviously the third generation as well, to come in with new ideas. But I think as an organization, what we tried to do is we try to give them as much freedom as possible to express their ideas. So from the most senior manager to the lowest level, we try to give them a platform on which to express their ideas. And in fact, we have certain KPIs and saying, look, you need to come up with new ideas as well. But of course, that never works. Saying, okay, there's KPI that you need to come up with ideas, and that never works. So I think you need to just have an open culture and get people to come up and be able to come to you and discuss their thoughts and ideas. So yeah.
Name a time which you had changed your decision due to the emergence of new facts.
A decision due to new facts. I'm trying to think. To be honest, I can't really think of a time where I've changed a decision due to facts. Change to new facts might be a bit difficult, but what we always are doing as entrepreneurs or even leaders or even managers is we're always trying to gather new data, right? And I think the more data points that you have, the better your decision-making process. And we're trying to do that now with analytics and stuff like that going forward. But as you get more and more data, obviously that's telling you, you'll have different data points telling you different things. And the more data points pushing you in one direction is something that you would want to go ahead with. So yeah, I understand. So there might be new data just telling you, okay, to build shopping malls, but you might not want to do that right away because you have a whole lot of other data points telling you IT is the way to go. But of course, if this starts building and this data set starts building, then you need to look at it and change it.
How would you delegate responsibilities to your team?
Okay, so I really delegate on capability. So based on my manager's capability to handle certain things, I will delegate responsibility, and also their eagerness to really take on a particular project or a particular thing. I speak with them ahead of time and tell them these are the things that you have available to choose from. Pick one and deliver it well. And I think it's a kind of consensus / capability mix is how I delegate tasks to. But yeah, delegation is key because you don't want to be. I'm learning that more and more as you grow an organization. You can't kind of control and do things yourself. In fact, I think one of the first lessons any good manager should learn is that control is an illusion. And I think delegation is it really helps you move forward quickly.
How do you handle a time when you had to make an unpopular decision?
Again, it's all decisions should be backed up by data. So even if it's unpopular, if you back it up by saying these are the reasons why I'm doing it, and this is the data backing up my decision, I don't think people will, people understand that. Hey, if it's unpopular, you need to do what's best for the company and what's best for the organization, I think. So yeah, I think we just make sure that before you make an unpopular decision that you have all the right reasons to do it, and I think people more or less understand that. If they don't, tough.
Right. How have you rallied your team in the past in a difficult project or a task?
So entrepreneurs are passionate about something, and when they're passionate, they believe in that particular goal or task or whatever it is. And I think passion is something that if you show passion, I think people will rally around that. And I think rallying people around takes a lot of passion and drive. So if you're not passionate about something, I don't think you'll be able to rally people.
Right.
And if you don't truly believe it yourself, I don't think you'll be able to listen. Yeah.
What is the most significant change you brought to an organization?
The most significant change, I would say, is just a new way of thinking. Working on results, on going to and changing the culture. So from going to a very old school culture to going to more or less like a meritocracy, where people who show results are given, are encouraged to or taken up the ladder further. And also giving ability for people to the freedom to think and generate ideas and stuff like that as well. So I think what I've been able to do is create impact on the organization is through its culture, and that's where I have the most.
What is one characteristic that you believe every leader should possess?
One characteristic that every leader should possess.
Oh, more.
I think every leader should just. I haven't really thought of myself as a leader, but I look at my grandfather as a leader, and I think he was very humble, hardworking, and I think, and he believed in selfless service. So I think those are the aspects that I look at in terms of leadership. Of course, each leader is different and in a different way.
All right. What advice could you give for the young generation who aspire to be leaders in Sri Lanka?
The young generation, they have access to the most amount of information possible than any generation previous. They have, I think, a good education background, which gives them ability to think logically. I think if they use these two things to create very interesting and new business models and ideas, I think society will benefit. So we honestly encourage them to do as much as possible.
Right. The final question.
Yeah.
Actually, we know that you are very young when compared to the other CEOs in the country.
Yeah.
So, what do you want people to remember you for?
No, question. I think if we achieve our vision, which was really create impact in Sri Lanka, change people's lives for the better, do some good. I think if people just remember me as a person who's done some good, I'm happy. I think I've achieved my goal.
Right. Thank you very much,
Yeah.
Jeevan.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure talking to you.
Nice talking
Such
to
a
you.
humble personality.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.